Hello YouTube and welcome back to the Artisan of Glimmith. And last episode we were trying to do non-boxy puzzles. So I need 4 more to gild this. That. Can't go like that because that corner would get in the way. Could go like that. I think that's the only way to do it, that it doesn't mess up the corner. This one. Ooh, could do that. T has to go on its side. Yeah. Four and 4. Non-boxy areas of 555. There's 36 and there's 25 and 6 is 31. So there's at least 4 left over. The 6 can only go that far out, can't go either left or down to the end. So it has to come across here. I don't know that it does go that far out. It has to go at least to there. That means that's the only way to fill the 5. This has to come out here. Now, this is interesting. Because this, whatever it is, has to be non-boxy. And that is a problem. Because this can't go up, so it has to go down. Okay, so in that case, the 6 has to come out. I know that. The 5 can do that. This 5 can do that. And by joining 2 5s, I get some more freedom. However, this 6 cannot come up there. Okay, this 6 has to take all of that. Means this 5 has to come down here. No, that doesn't work either. Six can do that. This 5 is then blocked off. Okay, let's try that. which doesn't work because this 5 can only get 4 cells. If I don't take this in 6, 6 can't go up. So the 6 could go up there, 1. Right. So 6, 5, 5, 5, 5. Now, the only problem I have with that is that this area does not work. And do that, but this 5 cannot extend any further, and I can't have one thing going around there. I can do that, and then I can have a box. Ooh. Definitely a little bit tricky, that one. Siding in there. Another 4. Okay, let's go for the hiding 4. All regions must have different shapes. Well, that one is fixed. So no more little T pieces. I may have an issue. Can't do that. I could change that one into that shape, and then I can do that. But I'm inclined to think that means that one becomes the L and that becomes whatever that's called. This has to be 4 and 4. And from this corner, the 4 is either a T, gives me another T, so it's not, or a Z, which gives me the L shape. Which makes this one a problem. That was interesting. And what are we up to? 32 of 33. So just this one, non-boxy. Everything's got different shapes. That has to be either elbow or a straight. That one's either an elbow or a straight. This looks very T-shaped. Now, at this point, I have 21 cells remaining, so there's a 5 to fit in. T, Z, L, need a straight. I can't do a straight because that's boxy. So hang on, what are my T, L, Z? What's my other shape? Okay, let's do that. Or similar to that. Why is that straight? Right, so I only have 3 non-boxy size 4s. This cannot join to another one. These two can join, these two can join. What am I missing? I can't. Neighbouring regions must be different types, not all regions. So I can do that. I can do that and put an L in there. I can make that one a T, and that can be a T. That can be possibly not an L. That can be an L. But I've got a square. That's a T. No. Oh, so that's now touching. It's hot today, so I just opened the window. So I have to think about not leaving little 1s and 2s. Unaccompanied like that. That works. That doesn't. This is going to have to be something like that. Unless it joins onto that 4. I tried that. Which gives me an L here. And now this has to go to this 4. But these two are blocked. So that would work. And that would be an L. That would be a T. That has to be an L. Just can't touch the 3s. And the only problem I have now is that this has become sort of S shape. If I make that an L, this can become a T. That's an S. No, that has to be that. So that means this one has to be that. And that has to be that. I'm convinced of that. And we'll lock those three in. If that's going to be forced into being an S, this has to join to here. And this now cannot be an S or a T. And that can't be an L because it touches. Yeah, so if this can't be an L, then and it can't cut off this cell, it has to be an S. And if that's an S, then this can only be a T. This could be an S like that, but that cuts something off. Can't be an S or a T. If I put a 4 in there, I only have 3 cells remaining. And 3 cells remaining doesn't really work for anything. Now I've got 1 cell remaining. And I can't. Can't extend this without cutting off this one. It has to be at least 4. Use the 1. I'm still left with an odd one. Make that a T, and that's an L, and that's an S. Ooh, that was quite a hard 24, but non-boxy is gold. Boxy or size separation. That needs 11. That one needs 12. Hey, boxy. 4, 5, 4, 5. Oh dear. It's all 4s and 5s, boxy. All regions are rectangular. All regions must have different shapes. And palisade. Okay, so that has to come out to that, and to be rectangular it has to do that. And it can't extend either of those. It can extend down. This one has to extend that way, and left or right. A 1 and a 2 in here, or we could have just a 1, or just a 1. It's just the 1, and maybe a uniqueness problem. This could be a square. If it's a square this way, then this one is either 2 by 1 leaving a 2 by 1 over here. Two-piece square. Now this is going to be a 2 by 1, 3 by 1. All possible. And that, I think, might work. Yeah. Let's leave the 5 for the moment. Try a 3. Neighbouring regions must have different shapes, so we do 2, 1, 2, 1. Could also do 2, 1 like that. Right, so if either of these is a 1, I can't put a 1 in either of these. What happens if I make them both 2s? And I have 2s adjacent. Okay, so that will have to be a 3. That one will have to be a 3. But Yeah, there's got to be this. This cannot be a 1, and this cannot be a 1. So those are either 2s or 3s. There has to be. Doesn't have to be a 2. I could do 2 1s and a 4. That's right. These can be 3s and 2s. Oh, done that one. It's a 5 hiding there. Another 3 hiding down here that I haven't done. Oh my. All regions are rectangular. Each region contains a single symbol. Neighbouring regions must do different shapes. So every cell has to fit into a region. This cannot reach the 4. Could reach this 6 or this 6. Oh, that's annoying. That could reach either 6. Give me another colour for the 4s. I'll make the 4s all orange. If I can get orange to go near them. I don't think I can see any spaces that cannot be reached by a 6. Oh, hang on. Sorry, that can't reach that 6 because it has to be rectangular. What am I thinking? Could be that. Or it could just do that. Either's possible, but that is definitely part of that 6. And this is definitely part of this 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cannot go all the way across, so that one is correct. This has to go with this 4. This 4 cannot be square, but it could be a vertical line. That can go out. These could be horizontal, 6s and 4s. This 6 cannot go out horizontally, so it has to extend vertically, either up or down. This 4 has to extend down. If it goes all the way up, this one cannot be straight, so that doesn't work. So this has to be a square. I don't know if it goes left or right. That has to go to this 6, which means this 6 has to be horizontal. This could extend that way or down. Okay, I think this has to go that way. Which would force possibly that up. But then this is a problem. Fill that in with that. And that's a problem. Why did I decide this one couldn't go like that? Because then this one will be adjacent. No. I have to split the 2 6s apart. Now this has to go into the corner. I think I have to do that to avoid having a blocked off area that I can't fill. 6. This could be a square. It can be vertical. Now it can't be vertical because then there's nothing getting here. But this could go down now that I've blocked that bit, which would let this become a 6, and that be a 4, which would actually look quite promising. Whereas this is a 6 now, and that's a 4, and that becomes a square, that becomes a 4, and that one finishes here. Right, that was only difficulty 3. I find these ones quite tricky. Ooh, all regions are rectangular. And we have Delta and Gemini. Now that could be a 3, which would make this a 3 and would break that one. So this is at most 2, which would allow that to be a 2. That could be a 1, and that would be a 1. This would have to be a 2 to match that. This can't be a 1 or a 2, so it has to be a square, and that has to be a square. That has to be a 2, making that a 2. Yeah, that one was a lot easier. Doing 7 to go. Yeah, I can do the ones. Boxy, area number, Gemini and Delta. The 2s are straight. The 4s can be straights or squares. That could be a 4 vertically or horizontally. It can't be a square. If this one's a square, then that has to be a square, and that. Which actually looks like it's working quite nicely. That's a 2x3. And that will make this one a 2x3 and this one a 2x3. All regions are rectangular and neighbouring regions must have different shapes. And these regions are mostly 4s. But not all regions are 4s, because we have 47 in total. Now there are only 2 possible shapes for the 4s, straight and square. So that is impossible because I can't make this one fill square and I can't make it go straight without leaving that one fixed. That's possible. If I put a square there, then one of these two is going to be touching no. I don't think that one can be a square. That be a square. No. Oh, this doesn't work either, because whatever I put on these 4s, if it's squares, they're touching, and that one now has no fill. So I think I can use a 2 in there. You have to put a square there. That one cannot be a square of that. two linears together. That breaks that. This 4. I put the square in the middle, put the square at the edge, I'm scuppered. So square has to go in the middle because I can't do flat horizontal and still be able to fill the 2 4s above it. So it has to be that. The rest of this is kind of guesswork, so take these other bits out. That has to be part of the square, and it can't go into there. This has to be part of the square and fill all of that. That has to not touch this one. And those have to go there. Ooh. And that's going to have to be a 3. And then just fill in some 2s and 1s. I'm going to have to face a 5 soon. All regions are rectangular. Each region contains a single symbol. And the area numbers, adding up to 49. That can only be rectangular vertically. This cell can only be reached by a rectangle that way. This cell can only be part of a rectangle like that. And that's supposed to be like that. And this has to be like that. Yeah, that was reasonably straightforward. All regions must have different shapes, and all regions must be rectangular. So the temptation is, of course, to do a 2x2. The alternative would be a 2x1 and a longer rectangle coming up here, but that's going to mess up there, I think. Then we have a 2x1. And a 2. Another. That was a 4. This was a 3x1, and that would work. I knew I was close. Okay, we have 3 to go, and oh look, it's 3 level 5s. All regions are rectangular, neighbouring regions must have different shapes, and we have polyominoes. Right. That can go vertically or horizontally. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. This, right, if this doesn't do that, then we're left with a 2x1, which would touch this one. So that does that. Means that comes out. Same logic here as down there. Oh, big hole in the middle. Okay, level 5. All regions are rectangular. Each region contains a single symbol. And I'm not going to count up the numbers. There are some holes because these 10s cannot touch one another. So the 10s have to be 2x5. Is that or that? Solitude means I can't just do a 10x1. That doesn't work. How does this work? Because any 2x5 I do there, I do all of them as 2x5s. Then they form a nice little windmill. Oh, I don't have a mingle shape. Idiot. Right. 5 has to be 5x1. And if it goes vertically, I can't fit the 10 in. The 6 has to be 2x3. The 4 has to be 2x2. And that 4 could be a different colour to stand out better. I'm not sure that the windmill goes this way around, but let's try it. Okay, 4x1, 5x1, 4x1, 4x1, 5x1, 2x2, 2x3, that's where it breaks. Okay. That should be a 6x1. Three by one, 4x1, and a 2x2. It's a duck. All regions are rectangular. I can do that region. All regions must have different shapes. So I have 1x1, 2x1, and 3x1. Okay, that cannot be 2x1. Could be 2x3 or more. I'm thinking I'm going to have we get some quite big shapes coming up. That's 2x4. That one can be 2x3. And this one can be 1x6 because I got 1x5 already. And that works. And we have a gold boxy window. Mark of prowess. Gild 15 windows. Okay, that seems like a good point to stop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back soon with another one.